What's up, YouTube? It's Julius, and it is currently freaking 5 a.m. I'm super tired, and for some reason, I had this inspiration to make this video. I'm heading to the airport soon, and I'm going to Tennessee to visit my grandfather and family for Thanksgiving. So see how that goes, because we recently had a death in the family and I don't know how I'm gonna take it. But that's another video. Today though, I wanted to talk about Thanksgiving and a little bit about sort of like my undiagnosed eating disorder. I haven't talked a lot about it, and I've sort of alluded to it in terms of like trouble taking my medication because you need to eat in order to take lithium, which I'm currently on for bipolar disorder. And because I have problems eating, I have problems taking my medication. So I've talked about that a little bit. I really haven't felt comfortable talking about it online. I think just because, one, I have so many freaking other mental disorders. Like, I have bipolar disorder, obviously. I have depression. I'm not even sure if like those can, if like I have depression because of bipolar disorder, or if I had had major depressive before I was bipolar, or if like my depression is just linked within my bipolar disorder. Can you have both, or like, it's very unclear. I have OCD. I have terrible anxiety. I have ADHD. Like the list goes on. So I didn't really want to add another one to the pile. And honestly, it's undiagnosed. Like, I've talked to my therapists and my psychiatrists, like 2 months ago, was the first time I brought it up to them. So I recently just brought it up to them this year. So like 2 months ago, 2019. And I've been struggling with this since 2011, since like middle school. I believe is when I first started to like really think about my weight and consider myself quote unquote fat, or like overweight, and heavy. And I don't think I've ever struggled with weight logically. In my mind, logically, I know that I've never really had weight problems, in terms of like, the grand scheme of things. I've never been like dangerously unhealthy, overweight, like dangerously overweight in terms of like in being unhealthy and like gonna die. I've never been extremely underweight. There was a time though in high school, when I dropped like 60 pounds in like a month, and like everyone was like, yo, like, like, are you, like, I wasn't like underweight, but my doctor was like, at the rate that you're continuing, we might need to like lock you up. He basically said that. He didn't say it like that, but he basically was like, like my mom, he was like, yeah, he can't continue to lose weight, or like as like a doctor, I have to do something. I have to intervene. So like he has to eat something. But yeah, I say undiagnosed because it comes up in like cycles. So currently I feel kind of overweight. And I know logically in my mind that sounds ridiculous. I know that like to the average eye, I don't look like I'm overweight. I don't look like I'm fat, quote unquote. I hate that word. I don't look like I'm fat. And every time I say it, I know people look at me like I'm ridiculous, because people really are struggling out here. And I'm over here complaining about the way I look. And it's not as simple as that, I'd say. It's more so that like in my mind, I literally look at myself in the mirror, and it's not necessarily that like I feel like, oh my gosh, I see myself and I look a lot larger. It's that like, oh my gosh, I see myself and I see like all of the things that could be changed. I see like my like back fat. I see like stretch marks from when I was a little bit heavier than I was now. I see that like there's no definition. I see that there's like a little bit here, a little bit here, and that sort of adds up to the fact that like, oh my god, I'm ugly, or that I'm overweight. And I wouldn't say that like this happens all the time. Again, like it flares up, as I was saying, and like right now I'm going through a period. And I think it's honestly because it's Thanksgiving and I have anxiety around eating a lot of food, because we just had Friendsgiving on Saturday and I felt completely bloated and I felt so full and I felt so gross with myself. And Thanksgiving is this week, and the food, like, I love food, y'all. Like, food, like, that's the thing. I love food. Food is amazing. Like, it tastes so good, obviously. Like, we need food. It's good for you. But like, I just don't, like, I feel I have anxiety around the whole thing. I'm like, I don't want to overeat on Thanksgiving, because when I get back, then I'm going to basically have to starve myself, and then start working out so that I can get back to like my normal weight. And the crazy thing is that like, when I feel this way, I typically don't gain like weight. Like I might have gained 3 pounds like this week or something like that, but it's not like I've gained 20 pounds or anything, which is bizarre to me. Now, when I say starve myself, I don't mean it in the sense that like, I don't really know what anorexia, like what counts for that, or if I could be considered anorexic. I don't think I am, again, because like I can go for months and not even think about this. Like I think this summer I really didn't. I know I like maybe had a few I call them flare ups in terms of me thinking that I'm like, you know, overweight or like gross or whatever, and that might have happened for like a week over the summer. But for the most part, I was going out, I was eating, I was social. I didn't really care about it. I was like going to the pool, didn't really think about like, oh, how do I look? Like none of that mattered to me. And then all of a sudden it just comes. And I think that's been since middle school. Like it literally will be maybe a full year of me feeling this way, maybe half a year, maybe 3 months. I think my sophomore year when I was in Europe, I like didn't think about like this at all. I didn't think about like how I looked. I thought like, everything was fine. I had so much confidence. You know, I don't consider myself to not be a confident person. So like I always think like I look like hot as shit. And I think that's like the thing that I've sort of internalized in the sense that like I don't care what other people think necessarily, but then again I do. No, but it's only at certain times, if that makes sense, which is why I feel like it's so weird to say like I have an eating disorder. Like I don't think I have an eating disorder per se. I feel like I have an unhealthy relationship with food, an unhealthy relationship of like looking at food and the way I perceive eating and like how that's supposed to be, because it's not like it happens all the time. It only really happens when like I'm eating terribly, and then like after like 2 weeks of eating terribly, I feel like so gross and so fat, and like I'm just like disgusting. Additionally, when I do say about, I talk about like, you know, these flare-ups, and I talk about like starving myself, it happens like, I say starve myself, like I do eat, I just eat a lot less, when I'm like really at that point. There's been times when I've gone like 2 days without food, maybe sometimes 2.5, 3 days without food. But then at that point, I'm typically like also like that's been like when I'm manic. So I'm not sure if that's completely linked, but when I'm manic and I'm not eating, I'm like, oh, look how skinny I am. It's great. That's like, I don't know. I'm not sure if those two things are linked, but yeah. So like 3 days, I think tops is how I've gone without eating. If I'm trying to normalize it, then I basically will just not eat a lot. So I'll have like one meal or like 2 meals at tops for a day. And I'll do that instead of, you know, just eating normal courses, which is strange as well. Like, I think that like this is something I want to talk about more, just because like I haven't personally talked about it in my life with anybody, really. A few people, a few of my friends, and like not really with my doctors, because again, one, I logically know that like I'm not like unhealthily and big. I might not have like the best beauty standards, but like I don't really care about that. I just genuinely feel like I'm big, larger than I am. And like there's stigma around eating disorders in general, like and people look at you different, people like perceive you differently. Additionally, like for guys, it's also heavily stigmatized. So like a guy saying he has an eating disorder, it's like, whoa, dude, like chill out. So I don't know, but if you are out here and you're feeling the same way I am around Thanksgiving, around the Thanksgiving holiday, just know that you are not alone. I'd say don't worry about it. Try not to worry about it, but as y'all know, you are gonna worry about it. The biggest thing that's helped me is to try to eat in small doses. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, if you're forced to eat, even if obviously starving yourself is never okay, but do what makes you feel comfortable, especially around family. And don't let anyone force you to do anything you don't want to do, at least this week, because it's already super stressful. But yeah, I'm headed to Memphis, so I'll let y'all know how that goes. But have a great Thanksgiving holiday. Remember to like, share, and comment. I love y'all, and subscribe to this channel to check out when I'll be uploading new videos. Peace.